Actually, oh, nice nails. Okay, I had something else planned for this evening. I was gonna do something else, but I just saw a comment an hour ago from David Braun, and he asked like the question, and that question was, can you do a video on how Star Wars has influenced you from childhood to present day? The mother of all questions about the mother of all movies. Yes, Dave, I'm gonna do that. However, this is gonna be a long one, so I'm gonna split it into a couple of parts, and we'll see how it goes. I don't want to do these insanely long videos, so I'll talk for a little bit, and then you know, I'll stop, and then we'll pick it up again tomorrow or in another video or whatever. But how Star Wars has influenced me from childhood to present day. Wow. First of all, um, I'm going to preface the answer by saying Star Wars, A New Hope, Star Wars, 1977, directed by George Lucas, is my favorite movie of all time. Do I think it's the best movie ever made? Do I think it's, best movie of all time? No, it is my favorite movie. Just like, you know, Land of the Lost is my favorite television show. Is it the best television show ever made? No, but it's my favorite. Star Wars is my favorite movie. It is definitely the movie that I've watched more than any other movie. Realistically, from a realistic standpoint, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary. I've easily seen that movie over 1,000 times. It influenced my entire career. It influenced who I am creatively. It's influenced my life. Um, those of you who are fans will know Behind the Mask, the documentary. I'll leave the link down in the description. It is available here on YouTube. When the director asks my dad, what got Sandy, when he was a kid, what got him going? He says, oh, he collected comic books and all that. And then Star Wars came out. And he's like, and when my son saw that movie, or whatever he says. But yeah. God, where do you start? Like I said, you're talking about a subject that is so dense and so, convoluted, for lack of a better term. It's been a part of my life since that moment I came out of the Island Theater on Staten Island, New York, in Staten Island, New York, or on Staten Island. It is an island. We're on the island. You know, uh, Vinnie Valialong's birthday, his dad took us all to see Star Wars, and that was it. That was it. That that the Star Destroyer comes in over the blockade runner, and the Imperial forces break into the ship, and there's laser fire and the droids, and then Vader comes in. That's it. Like, that changed my life. Um, the second thing that I need to get out of the way, if we're going to talk about Star Wars, is, to me, and again, I'm sure this is going to get a lot of hate and people aren't going to like it, but to me, Star Wars, the term Star Wars, in my humble opinion, refers to a 3-movie trilogy that spanned 1977 to 1983, being Star Wars: A New Hope, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Everything that has been made post 1983 does not exist to me. I do not watch The Mandalorian. I do not participate in any Star Wars after, like, I've seen the prequels and I've seen like Solo and Rogue One and all this other stuff. I mean, some of it's watchable, but I mean, to me, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just indifferent to me. I don't consider that Star Wars. I am very much an old school Star Wars Empire Jedi guy, Christmas special included. Again, hard choice for my favorite television special of all time. That and Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I mean, you're talking, that's a hard choice. Star Wars Christmas special and Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park. But I do love that Christmas special. I love the Nelvana animated thing. My God, it was just such a part of my childhood, and that Christmas for me and everything. It was man, yeah, God, okay, so obviously as a child, it influenced me in ways of being overwhelmed by the movie, loving the characters, just wanting to dive headfirst into that world, wanting to know more about Luke Skywalker, wanting to know more about Darth Vader, Han Solo, who were the Jawas, where did C-3PO and R2-D2 come from, where, as a kid, your mind just goes, and I was enthralled with that movie. I think the first run, and it ran on Staten Island for a year. It was in the theater for over a year because I would, like, going to see Star Wars became like a thing. Like, you'd be like, what do you want to do? You just get home from school. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go outside and throw the Nerf football around? Do you want to go down to the park and shoot baskets? You want to go to Clove Lake and go fishing, or you want to go see Star Wars? Like, what do you, like, it just became something we did. I've seen that movie in the theater well over 100 times, well over. I mean, I've seen it projected quite a bit. It is a different experience projected versus seeing it on television, or even, a really good, 4K TV, whatever. God, this is bothering me. My elbow here. It's a different experience with any film. I mean, I am a film director. I am a film person. So I will tell you that seeing a film projected, it's a completely different experience for me. Being in the cinema and seeing the film projected. That year, that it ran, I mean, I saw it once a week, 3 times a month. Yeah, I mean, we watched Star Wars a lot. That, and then, there's, waiting in line for Empire. Wasn't quite like camping out, like that whole thing hadn't started yet, but we were there, like, for a 7:30 show, like we were there. My mom let us skip school so we could get down to the theater in the morning. Yeah, then we my cousins held our place in line, or so we went to eat at Beefsteak Charlie's. God, and then they came back, and then they went to eat at Beefsteak Charlie's, which was in the same like little, mini mall or whatever you want to call it that the theater was in, that we were seeing Star Wars, or Empire. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's another video in and of itself. I'm sure this video will spawn other videos. Yes, the comic book was available the day before or whatever. I don't know. It was the day before, week before, whatever it was. I mean, and I went and bought it. I didn't read it, but unfortunately, other people did. And it got around school that, Vader was Luke's father. However, I will say this. As a child, I was 9, 10, 11. I was 12 when Empire came out. Um, the idea of Darth Vader being Luke's father was such a far-fetched thing. I thought it was a joke. Like, I didn't believe it. I'd heard it, but I didn't really believe it. So when we were in the theater and you find out that it's, Luke's father, it was very jarring. And yeah, Empire, a much better movie than Star Wars, like from a filmmaking standpoint. I actually think The Empire Strikes Back is a masterpiece. That is an incredible piece of cinema. Empire is, it's a perfect movie, really. And I also think Return of the Jedi does not get enough love. I think there's too much Jedi hate out there for that film, with the Ewoks and all that. A lot of like ultra purists or really don't like that movie. But how anyone would prefer that over anything that's was made after it, I just don't understand. But that's another video. But yeah, I mean, it started a journey of God. How did they make those masks? How do you create these characters? How do they do the spaceships and all this? I was overwhelmed and overjoyed at the same time. It was so much information to process, and there were so many thoughts going through my 9-year-old brain at the time. It was daunting. There was so much Star Wars to do. Like you, you had to get every piece of whether it was a newspaper article or a magazine or trading cards or comic books, like how the comics went a different way with, the Green Rabbit and all this. I mean, I was all in. I was all in. I'll take the Green Rabbit over, Attack of the Clones any day of the week. Again, not a fan of the prequels. We don't poo-poo on them, but we don't like them. Anyway, so childhood, yeah, it was about learning all that stuff. It was about who's this Rick Baker guy. Um, you know, my mom got me the Art of Star Wars book. That was huge. And then, the subsequent books, The Art of Empire, Art of Jedi, the Joe Johnston, Nilo Rodis, Ralph McQuarrie stuff, mind-blowing, So I would have to say, as a child, that was the biggest influence, was the art of it all, because I was an artist. I was already drawing a lot, and I was really into comic books and drawing and painting and sculpting. I was like into all that stuff. So when I got that book and you started seeing Joe Johnston's drawings and stuff, it just opened up a completely new world for me. So that, I'd say childhood, that was, and then obviously, I don't even need to say this, but like any other young male at that time, yes, the action figures, the trading cards, the magazines, anything you could get your hands on. It was all about, that was when I started. Well, I collected comic books before Star Wars came out. I was into the whole, bag and board your comics and keep them nice and all that, in the late 70s and the early 80s. But Yeah, so but like collecting these things and having them, like having all the figures and getting all the card sets and all that was of great importance to a young 9-year-old Sandy Colora. It blew my mind. It just, I can watch that film to this day and it still blows my mind. Like it literally, why I'm doing this, Dave, is because of your comment, not only, but when Lauren and I walked into the studio this afternoon, my studio mate, Mike Kelch, was watching A New Hope because he's got some project that involves doing a painting for some Star Wars thing. He had it on. And when Star Wars is on, you watch it, you quote it, you stop what you're doing, you know, at my age now, it's exactly the same. It's just the most wonderful thing that I can think of. You ask me about the greatest memories of my childhood, Star Wars is the greatest memory of my childhood. My mother, my late mother, who I miss very much, but Star Wars. Like Star Wars, my mom, there's a lot of great stuff. Disneyland and all the stuff that influenced me as well. But the most pure, unrequited, like just love. Uh, Lauren likes to use the word joy, like just the most joy that came out of my childhood was Star Wars. Like being that age and growing up as a Star Wars kid, being a Gen Xer, like 9 at Star Wars, 12 at Empire, 15 at Jedi. Like how much, like that's a gift. That's being given a gift from the gods. That's like, you're like the perfect age. Like I grew up with Star Wars. And yeah, it's why I'm here. It's why I have this studio. It's why I became a director. It's why I do what I do. Um, Star Wars lit that fire that's been burning now for 50 years, give or take. Uh, yeah, Star Wars was lit the fire. And let's call that the end of part one. The childhood years and what, what it meant to me as a child. Next, I guess we'll talk more about Empire, and how an older Sandy Colora, 3 years later, getting into my teens, like just you're right there, 12 years old. We'll talk about that and how, and then further, how Jedi being in high school and then getting into college and all that other, and how it started to influence me more as a professional, as opposed to just, this wide-eyed kid that was seeing this great gift that was Star Wars: A New Hope. So that's it. I'm out from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. See ya.